My name is Daniel, and I am a cryptozoologist. My work involves researching and studying mysterious and unknown animal species. It may seem like an exciting endeavor, but I have long lost the fire in my eyes. Once, my early years were filled with enthusiasm. I dreamed of encounters with legendary creatures and discoveries that would change the world. However, reality turned out to be less romantic. I live and work in Ukraine. Expeditions in my country have been challenging. There was always a lack of funds for equipment and research. Often I ventured deep into forests, high up in the mountains, hoping to find traces of cryptids. But in vain, as I only encountered ordinary animals that fled from me as if sensing my hopelessness. Day after day, year after year, collecting evidence became routine. Cameras, videos, audio recordings, all of it became part of my life. But the evidence remained elusive. I lost count of my attempts, yet found nothing intriguing. My work turned as gray and empty as the mist in the mountains. One day, I set out in my old off-road vehicle for another expedition. This journey led me deep into the forests of Ternopil Oblast. I no longer believed I'd discover anything significant, but duty called. As I arrived at the location, the unexpected happened. My GPS malfunctioned, and my phone ran out of battery. Lost and disoriented in these dense woods, the day drew to a close. The car's fuel was also running low. The forest seemed to harbor its secrets, and I was at its mercy. It occurred to me to step out of the vehicle and explore the area. But time dragged on, and each step grew heavier. The forest held its breath, and I stood alone, a mere speck in its vastness. The fading light painted shadows on the trees, and I wondered if I'd become one of those legends, the lost souls who vanish without a trace. Yet, somewhere deep within, a spark flickered. Perhaps this was the moment when the mundane would transform into magic, and the ordinary would reveal its extraordinary secrets. And so, I trudged forward, guided by hope and fueled by the stubborn belief that sometimes, even in the darkest corners, wonder awaits those who dare to seek it. The long day transformed into night, and I continued to wander through these woods. Darkness thickened around me. My old off-road vehicle stood at the roadside, its fuel depleted, yet I decided to return to it. It became my refuge in this uncharted terrain. I remember how weariness enveloped me. I fashioned a makeshift shelter inside the car, using old blankets in my backpack. Before drifting off to sleep, I reflected. Memories of childhood flooded back when belief in the unknown was still alive. My first books about cryptids, drawings on walls, childhood dreams, all were part of me. Then came the years of education. University, scientific articles, research. Routine set in, and I lost myself in those academic corridors. Yet deep within, a spark of faith persisted that something greater awaited me. I embarked on expeditions, even when no one believed in their success. But work changed me further. It felt like I had burned out completely. As I sat lost in thought, the night grew colder, darkness cloaking everything. I huddled in my old off-road vehicle, warming myself by the fire I'd kindled. The flames danced in the darkness, casting shadows on the trees. My hands trembled from the cold, but that wasn't my sole concern. Darkness began to unnerve me. I felt it enveloping me, as if it wanted to consume me whole. Could this forest hide more than my imagination could fathom? Despite the chill and fear, I drifted off to sleep. Exhaustion from the journey weighed heavily on me, and I sensed sleep pulling me into its embrace. The fire had died down, and the darkness deepened. I lay in my car, listening to the forest's murmur, which seemed oddly suspicious. Then something changed abruptly. My body tensed and I opened my eyes. Footsteps. I heard them, no doubt about it. They were purposeful, rhythmic, as if someone approached my vehicle. My heart raced. I propped myself up on my elbow, trying to discern my surroundings. But the darkness remained impenetrable, and I sensed the footsteps drawing nearer. Who could it be? Perhaps a fellow traveler? Or something else, something that hunted in the night? My hands fumbled for something, anything I could use as a weapon. I found an old folding knife, which I always carried. Meanwhile, the footsteps grew closer. Though I heard them from a distance, they were closing in. My heart pounded with fear, and suddenly I heard it, a heavy, primal breathing. Not a wolf, this was different. Something large and menacing. Each step reverberated in my inner ear. I wondered, why couldn't I see anything? Why was the darkness so dense? My hands trembled as I clutched the knife. I didn't know what to do. Perhaps it was just someone who decided to visit me at night. Or maybe something supernatural, something beyond rational explanation. I sensed it approaching, large and invisible. Its breathing grew closer, and I felt it like tiny ants crawling on my skin. And then, the clouds dispersed, revealing an entity illuminated by the moon. It resembled a wild boar. The creature's coarse fur moved as it walked on all fours. Its height nearly matched that of my off-road vehicle. Incredible fear gripped me as my eyes traced the contours of the creature. The moonlight accentuated its rugged coat, making it even more enigmatic. My heart pounded in my chest, and my breaths grew uneven. Yet, I couldn't tear my gaze away from the creature. The entity continued its approach. I wondered if the knife in my trembling hands would be of any use. Its face was caked with dirt, and its large teeth looked menacing. Suddenly, it emitted guttural sounds, a roar that pierced the night. It felt as though it could tear through everything: the silence, the forest, and me. My blood ran cold. I couldn't look away from this monstrosity. It reached my off-road vehicle, pounding its snout against the door. Its strength was otherworldly, and I realized it was trying to reach me. I remember feeling my heart beat so rapidly that it seemed it might burst from my chest. Fear consumed me. My mind raced in all directions, seeking an escape. My hands were sweaty, and my breaths became wildly uneven. It was a trap, and I was at its center, but I had an inkling of what to do. I pulled out my camera from the bag and turned on the flash. My hands trembled, but I couldn't allow myself to falter. Though it was incredibly difficult, I focused on my plan. My car shook violently, each impact from the wild boar reverberating through its frame. The creature's snout pounded against the windows from all sides, and I felt the metal structure of the car bending under its force. Despite this, I managed to take one photo. The camera flash startled it, and it recoiled momentarily. But it was only a brief respite. The creature advanced again, howling in fury. Its teeth came dangerously close to the glass. It became clear that this was a battle for life or death. I had no desire to look at it, and no strength to divert my gaze from this monstrosity. My hands trembled, and my soul screamed of danger. I lost hope. My body and mind were exhausted, and my hands felt weak. The wild boar couldn't be deterred. It continued to assault my car, as if sensing my vulnerability. The vehicle shook violently, and I watched it gradually crumble. Soon, it would reach me. It felt like a war, and I was unprepared, unarmed. They say, one man alone is not a warrior, and right now, I wouldn't argue. My attempts to tear my eyes away from this nightmare were futile. It wouldn't release me, holding my fear in its merciless eyes. He continued to attack, just a moment more, but suddenly, the car horn blared. It pierced through the darkness, shattering the night silence. The wild boar recoiled unexpectedly, breaking away from my car. It was my salvation. I felt it retreating, even as the horn continued to sound. I remained alive, yet I knew this night would leave a profound mark on me. Life and death danced on the edge in that moment, and I bore witness to their incredible tango. And though I survived, I would never be the same. My body refused to move for a long time. I don't know what I would have done if the local forest ranger hadn't found and rescued me in the morning, but this night had changed me forever. Being back home, I reviewed the photos taken by my camera during those moments when I distracted the creature. Looking at the images, I realized that such boars didn't exist. This creature had a bloodthirsty maw full of sharp teeth, and its head resembled a boar's head, only superficially. It was something entirely different. The world had never seen anything like it. It seems my dream had come true. I discovered an unknown animal species, but strangely, I wasn't pleased at all.